What if I told you you were not good enough and that nothing good will ever come out of your career? You would definitely be rolling up in your room or thinking about what I said, rather than thinking about what you can be able to do for yourself. This is the story of a young man. His name is Ronaldo Ulisadibi, a boy who grew up in Imo State from a small town, who only thought of football, who only wished he could make his family proud. But in that run, there were so many choices to make. And one of those choices was to be in a team where the coaches didn't really see him as a good player. Now, this is a very, very difficult situation because most of us has gone through this similar situation, I myself personally. But one thing remained, and that was that he never quit, he never gave up, he never saw those things. Started in 2022 when he joined a team called First Mahi FC, Imo State, Owerri, where there were so many good players, so many prospects. But he never saw that as a challenge because he was always a fighter. He always gave in his best in training sessions and in matches. But all these things didn't just add up in one way or the other. He trained hard, he worked hard, but wasn't just getting the recognition he wanted or craved for. He was barely scoring, barely assisting, barely playing. And this, for a striker, is a tough one because it tends to play with your mind, your mental health, your well-being, and it can really affect you in different areas, which it got to Elisa, and you can probably understand why it did. There were times he would feel like giving up, he would feel like crying, feel like going home, quitting, but it wasn't just coming. The love and the passion he had for the game was just too immersive, and he thought about the pains of going back home without achieving what he actually came out to achieve. So this tried to play on his mind, but he kept on pushing. But in spite of all this perseverance, the coach would still try to play a blind eye to everything that was going on, would not give him minutes, would not give him time. And most of the time when he played, he couldn't still meet up to standard because the pressure was much on him. And you could definitely understand that for a young player, it's always a difficult situation when you are in that spot, where you're trying to prove something and you're not just getting your confidence at that moment. So he finally left and got an opportunity to play for Heartland Feeders of Imo State, where he also tried to push and push and push, but it was not still getting, it was not all clear, it was not still clicking for him. There were times where he would struggle, there were times where the coaches also kept him on the bench, just like he was on the previous team. Now, to some players, this should have been a normal thing, sitting on the bench week in, week out. But it wasn't so for Elisa. He saw himself bigger than that, and he saw himself growing better. There were times he played, there were times he didn't. There were times he fell down, there were times he got up back, but he was still pushing hard, he was still going for it, and he never gave up. Fast forward to 2024, he got to another team where he tried to fit in, and he started getting himself back, he started getting his rhythm back. And all this while that it seemed like everything was going down the drain, at that particular time, in one time of his career, he started feeling the light again. He started going all out, feeling himself, scoring goals, making assists, and everything seemed to be going very, very well until he got injured. Yeah, just like in every other story you hear, there's always a tale where you get a bad ending, but it wasn't an ending for Lisa because the injuries was just a setback, but it wasn't the end of his career because he put himself up and beat himself and cleaned up the dust and went back, hit himself hard in the training session, gave himself quick recoveries, and he got back. Now, one thing you should always understand about players who go through these kind of things is that they never quit. He was a player who never saw himself as not good enough, even if he was constantly told so. You've heard the stories of the Rafinhas, the Benzemas. There were so many players that were told no, so many players that were told not good enough, the Calvin Bassies and the Ademola Lookmans, but they still never saw themselves as lower players because it all starts in the mind before they can actually come out in your actions. I'm just pleased to tell you guys that Olusadebe Ronaldo Onoha has signed his first professional contract even after all the struggles, after all the pains, the injuries, the setbacks, the minor talks, the bringing down, the letting go, and the changing of teams, all this led to a final destination. Even if it's not really final, but I know he is going places. I just want you guys to understand that no matter the situation you're going through as a player, you should always understand that you should have mental toughness, because people will tell you you're not good enough, people will ridicule you, and they will try to ride you on. But what stays in your mind is that you are good, you are better, you are strong, and this is the only thing that can pass you through in everything you're going through. And God as well is always going to be involved, because without God, you can never overcome such challenges. So I want to encourage all the ballers out there, just like I always do. 2026 is a year not to sulk and cry about whatever you're going through. It's a season where you can push and push and push, because you might just be getting the next contract, just like Mr. DB here. And I want to once again congratulate you, Ronaldo, on your contract, and I know a many more is coming. Peace out, guys. My name is Devin.